Welcome to our exclusive second act night shift mini-series, specially designed for those who are experiencing challenges in their nightly rest routine. We've partnered with night skincare experts Estée Lauder, whose iconic collection, Advanced Night Repair, is designed to support the skin's natural nightly renewal rhythm, harnessing over 40 years of pioneering night science research and repairing the look of sleep-deprived skin. We're talking to some of the UK's leading sleep experts, giving real insight into how to combat the effects of midlife changes to our sleep. Today's expert guest is osteopath and wellbeing expert Nadia Alibhai, who has 2 decades of experience using osteopathy to bring relief, recovery and balance to mind, body and soul. So Nadia, welcome to the night shift.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here talking all things sleep and posture today.
I know sleep is a hot topic for us here at Second Act. And I'm curious actually just to understand how posture impacts sleep. It's not something that is on my top of my sort of list of what I think I should be focused on.
Your phone is basically jet lagging your body every night. So in particular, if you think about how long we're spending sitting, people that are working from home, there's a lot of us that are on our phones, scrolling through the day in those sort of scrunched up positions. And then when you go into bed, it can take a bit longer because you can have the aches and pains before you're getting into bed, feeling a bit more stiffer. And then it's the sleep positions as well. So there's a lot of people, they get into bed and then they go from sitting scrunched all day into going into a fetal position where you're scrunching up again. So that could be quite difficult on trying to get to sleep.
I'm interested in the sleep positions because I feel like maybe on Instagram and things like that, I've become aware that there are certain sleepers and you're a side sleeper or a back sleeper or a front sleeper. Is there a position that is better for sleep?
Your body doesn't forget what you did all day. So if you've been sitting hunched all day, you're likely to be sleeping hunched too. So I feel with this, it particularly is dependent on if you have any aches and pains. So for example, let's start. I always say to people, my favourite position for sleep is side sleeping. And the reason for this is the way your joints are supported.
Okay.
Now, before we even go into that, Sophie, we need to be, I always state this, your pillow is extremely important in how it supports your neck, and your mattress is really important in how it supports your spine and the rest of your limbs. So if we start with a person that lies on their side, you need to make sure your pillow is thick enough to bridge the gap between the ear and shoulder. So firstly, a pillow that's too thin, it'll have your head going down too low, and a pillow that's too high, it'll have your head lifted quite high. So you want one that's just right. It's a bit like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. So it's really one that fits and bridges the gap between the ear and shoulder. Now, when sleeping on the side, a lot of people, especially as we get older, we may notice the aches and pains in the lower back. I say get a cushion or even a rolled up towel and pop that between your knees because that helps to align your hips. And in another additional, and I normally, if my kids haven't jumped into my bed, that's when I tend to get a cushion or a pillow and I pop my hand on top of that. So that also supports my shoulders. So it's really about supporting our joints when we're sleeping.
That's really interesting because I always hug a pillow.
Good.
My husband thinks it's a little bit weird, but there's a number of my friends that do the same. And I think it started when we were pregnant.
Yes.
Because you feel, you need to support that bump. And then you kind of become used to it.
Absolutely.
But I can't really sleep without a pillow to cuddle.
That's great. That's so great for your shoulder because your shoulder is getting supported. As opposed to if your shoulder didn't have that, you would twist at your spine and that could be a bit achy and you could wake up feeling a bit stiffer.
That's very good advice then. I can tell my husband that I'm doing the right thing.
Or you could just give him a hug.
Well, I could do that. Oh, yes, okay. What about pillows? I'm interested in that too. I have a slightly peculiar array of pillows that are just right for me, it feels, when I'm at home. And whenever I sleep anywhere else, in a hotel or in a, if we're staying at a holiday house, it's never quite right. And I feel that my neck is uncomfortable. But then I question sometimes whether what I think is right for me, whether that really is right or have I just got used to it? How do you know if your pillow is right?
That's a great question. So Sophie, firstly, I say this a lot to my patients. If you're waking up in the morning where you're feeling stiff in your neck or stiff in your shoulders, or you're finding it really difficult to fall asleep, so you're tossing and turning the whole night, or you're waking up with a headache that's just feeling quite heavy, or pins and needles or numbness in your upper limbs or into your fingers, that's normally a sign that you may want to be changing your pillow. So firstly, how do we know we have the right pillow? I love to do something that's a pillow test. And if you get your pillow and you then fold your pillow in half, if it stays folded, that's normally time to get rid of it. Okay. When you close that pillow and if it springs open, that's when you know that pillow still has the oomph to support your neck.
Okay.
And that's what we're looking for, is that support for your neck. Now, if you're a back sleeper, your pillow may not need to be as thick as one when you're a side sleeper. And one of my worst sleep positions that I personally feel, especially if you have neck pain, is sleeping on your tummy. And that's when I say to my patients, have a thin pillow at that point, or even no pillow, because it does strain your neck. As well as not having a pillow, get that pillow of yours and pop that under your tummy. That'll help to stabilise and support your lower back.
Oh, that's so interesting. So what about midlife? We know from Second Act, we have a lot of communication with our community about sleeping problems,
Absolutely.
whether it's falling asleep, staying asleep, not being able to sleep long enough in the morning.
Yes.
So something's shifting in midlife. Is there a link between midlife posture and sleep?
Think of your bedtime stretch as brushing your teeth. It's hygiene for your joints. I mean, I used to find, I had a point where I was just like, oh my God, as soon as I hit my 40s, I just thought, I just cannot find a position that's comfortable. And I found I was tossing and turning. And being an osteopath, I thought, well, I need to make the changes I'm preaching to people.
Yes.
So one of the first things I say to people is to remember, as we are getting older, our joints are changing. So our cartilage can be getting thinner, our discs can be getting narrower. And with that, that can make you wake up feeling stiffer, just a bit more achier. As well as that, now when we go into perimenopause and menopause, what then happens, we have a decrease in estrogen.
Yes.
And what a lot of people don't realise is estrogen is actually also acts as an anti-inflammatory. So now with that drop in estrogen, there's more of a chance that there could be inflammation within our joints, as well as more stiffness.
Interesting.
Yes.
I do definitely feel, weirdly, I have achy elbows. And
Okay.
that sometimes when I'm even just lying flat, I start feeling my elbows. And I have Googled it, as you do when you've got things wrong with you. And I see that it could be a sign, a problem to do with menopause. But I wonder, are there exercises you can do to help with things?
Absolutely. But, going with that, and what I would say to that is, if you're noticing a specific area of pain, like, as you mentioned, your elbows, is that because you're typing so much? Is that because you're on your phone so much? So when you get to the end of the day and you start to relax, that's when your brain reconnects with your body to find out, actually, the areas that you've overused, they normally speak to you at night.
Because I was thinking, I don't play tennis, but you're absolutely right. I'm
It could be the
spending my life
phone.
on the phone.
Exactly. And that, is something, again, phone, especially before bedtime, one of the biggest no-nos.
So tell me tips then. As someone who has, researched and spent quite a lot of time helping people sleep with their posture, what do we need to be doing?
So firstly, I like to say to people, keep moving through the day. Motion is lotion. And by that, what I mean is every time we move our joints, we are lubricating our joints. So the synovial fluid between our joints almost acts like a moisturizer for our joints. So we are a bit more supple. So by the time we get to bed, we can actually sleep better, as opposed to if you've been sitting all day, you haven't moved much, and then you go straight to bed, you're going to take that stiffness into your bed. To me, a sleep time routine is extremely important. Things such as stopping scrolling. So I stopped scrolling on my phone from about 8:30 at night, because the blue light from your phone, it makes your brain think you're actually awake. So as much as it may be 10:30 at night, and you might be thinking, why am I not falling asleep? I'm watching this film on my phone and it's not putting me to sleep, or I'm reading this book on my phone. That blue light is actually telling you, no, you need to wake up. So your melatonin production is getting lower. So what I say to a lot of people is, start with a sleep time routine. Move your phone away, stop the scrolling. If you have to quickly go and drop a message, that's fine, but don't be on it for minutes to ends of hours. Start to relax your body. So for me, for example, I will go into the bath. And a warm bath against your skin, it's almost like a cuddle to your body. So what it does is it tells your nervous system that it's time to relax. So your nervous system starts to relax. I add things like Epsom salts, which are great for muscles. I add some lavender, which helps to relax, not just through the senses, it helps to relax the whole body. And then from there, I take myself towards my bed. And what I do is I make sure I have blackout curtains. For those people that say, I can't really get blackout curtains, I will say, if you can get a sleep mask, get a sleep mask, because the darker it is, again, the more melatonin we will be forming. And from there, I then say, keep your phones away from you, because our phones by our bedside, it's the EMF. The signals they will constantly interrupt our sleep patterns. So if you can have your phone in another room, use an alarm clock, because so many of us use our phones
as
alarms.
It's the excuse, isn't it? I know. I have the same from my kids when I'm like, I want you to not go to bed with your phone. I'm like, that's how I set myself to wake up.
So many of us do. And what I've got into the habit of is trying to move my phone away from my phone. So I'll actually my phone away from the bed. So what I do is I'll plug it in far away, so I can still hear the alarm, but it's not affecting my sleep. So that's really important. And also things like the pillows, the linens that we're using, try to go for natural fibres, because your head is against that the whole time and you're breathing that in. So you really want to try and make sure that you're going for natural fibres as opposed to synthetic.
We're partnering with Estée Lauder's advanced night repair range for this podcast. It's a powerhouse product range for people in midlife and ideal for those looking for harder working products in their skincare routine. It targets 7 skin concerns, including line reduction, skin soothing, firmness, skin tone and strength, hydration, and radiance. Things we hear our second act audience talk about a lot. And while there might be a lot of anxiety or other things that are going on if you wake up at like 3 or 4 in the morning, not being perfectly comfortable probably is a real, causes it to be much harder to fall back to sleep again.
Especially if you're waking up in the middle of the night. At that point, that's when I say, if you're feeling stiffness, change position.
Okay.
If you can be in bed and you're feeling a bit of an ache in your lower back, if you can get your knees into your chest and give it a bit of stretch, do that. Get your ankles moving, back and forth movement of the ankles. Deep breathing that really helps with relaxing your body, because sometimes you wake up at night and so many people will grab their phone, let me see what time it is, and then from there you end up scrolling at 3 in the morning and the blue lights then woke and kept you up another hour. Stay away from the phone. Work on your breathing, get some movement in. If you need to get up, pop to the loo, have a bit of water, hydrate, and then get into bed, do that.
Very good. Stretching is interesting to me, because I definitely find, as I've become older, as I, well into my midlife, that funny parts of my body I feel need stretching. My feet, my ankles, things like that. Are there stretches that you could do if you were lying in bed? And
yes, absolutely. And it's funny that, because I'm the same. I find towards the end of the day, because I stand a lot for my work, at the end of the day is normally my feet. And I just think, so one of my favourites is when I'm in bed, just getting your feet to go up and back and forth, doing circular motions clockwise and then anti-clockwise. That really helps with the joints. But again, before getting into bed, that's a great time to even just get onto the floor, get on a rug, get some stretches going, and then get into bed from there.
And then it makes you probably relaxed as well. It's a combination, isn't it? So it's that yoga thing where you actually sink into,
Exactly. It's a flow. And I think the biggest thing with that is when the joints are moving, you're feeling less achy, it's easier to fall asleep.
So I've been to your clinic actually, and it's absolutely wonderful.
Thank you.
Do you work with people on sleep position, or are you more working with them on just sort of aligning their bodies so that they get a better sleep position?
Bit of both, to be honest. At the moment, there are a lot of people actually waking up with a crick in their neck, where they wake up and they're like, I just cannot move my neck. And that is a lot of times from staring at phones all day. So if we think about the phone, if you're looking down at your phone for long periods, your head weighs around 5 kilos. So if you're looking down at your phone for, let's say, half an hour to an hour, you're then straining your neck. And then you go to bed and carry on scrolling, and then you don't know what position to have your head in. That can impact your neck. So it's really knowing the pillow size for your position. So remember, back sleeper, medium, side sleeper, one that fits the gap between your ear and shoulders, and tummy sleeper. I always say try and avoid it, but if you have to, you must get rid of the pillow or a very thin pillow. And when people come in for treatments, it's normally to try and release the muscle tension that they've been holding through the day from either screen usage, phone usage, or stress and anxiety, or it's basically trying to realign. So we kind of mix it up, and it's very bespoke to each patient.
And we were talking about firmness of a mattress.
Yes.
Interested in that as well, because I like sleeping, when you go to a wonderful hotel and it's like sleeping on a cloud. That's my dream. I don't have that at home. And my husband likes a firmer mattress.
Yes.
And I think that firm is supposed to be good, but I would really prefer a cloud. Is there a right or wrong?
Personally, the spine needs the support.
Okay.
Right? So a cloud, or, do you remember back in the day, was it in the 80s when they'd have the water beds? And,
Yes.
the amount of people that were coming in for back pain in those days, I mean, I hear from other osteopaths that were practicing, there was a lot.
That's so
and
interesting.
I think that's because we do need more support. And I say to patients, when you sleep in bed, you don't want your body to be working at that time. You want your body to be supported so you can get the sleep you need. So a firm, medium to firm mattress, to me, I'd say is ideal.
Is the ideal solution. All right. Are there areas of the body that everyone seems to have problems with? Are there, these shifts in midlife, are there things that probably, if we talk about now, a lot of our listeners will relate to?
I think in general, with midlife, and I find going into perimenopause or menopause, a lot of us, me being one also, I went through a stage where I was noticing a bit more abdominal fat. So my stomach, I just felt I could not zip up my trousers, or my jeans felt a bit tighter. And, that was a mixture of the perimenopause as well as the cortisol. And so I started looking into these things. So for me, things like rebounding really helped with that. Body brushing really helped with that. Deep breathing really helped with that, because I found my cortisol from my stress decreased, but also by circulating with the body brushing, it allowed me not to feel as heavy in that area. And I found a lot of times when women have gained weight around the stomach, they end up having a bit more lower back pain. So a lot more people were coming in saying, Nadia, I've gained weight in my midlife. My lower back hurts a lot more. I just can't find a comfortable position. And that's when we take a look at what's going on. That's when I really opt for side sleeping with a lower back pain, cushion between your knees, making sure that your head, the pillow is bridging the gap between your head and neck. So I think there's a range. And I think it's really trying to make sure that we are moving through the day so that our joints stay lubricated. So when we go into bed, they're not as stiff.
That's good advice. And also moving during the day. This is something I have started doing.
Good.
We had a guest on the Second Act podcast who said, just schedule in your day times to go for a walk.
Yes.
And so I started doing that, and it has kept me to it.
Good.
But I also find that physically it's really good, but mentally it's really great as well, just getting out for a long walk.
And also, so if your research shows that, if you are someone who is desk-based, you need to get off that chair every 30 minutes. 30 minutes. So that's really twice an hour. And what I say, set alarms on your phone, even if it means you're just getting off your chair, popping to the kitchen, putting the kettle on if you're working from home, or if you're at work, going to get some water, or having a loo break, or going to a colleague to say hello. Get off that seat.
Yeah, I think I had a yoga teacher who used to say that sitting is this generation's smoking.
Agreed.
Wow.
I so agree with that, because not only is it like compressing and impacting your spine and joints, it's really affecting posture. And as we're getting older, we have to be so much more aware of this and really take care of it.
And it sort of can sound a bit doom and gloom, but I also think midlife is a great opportunity to make changes, because actually if we do start making changes and we do start going to the gym, we're not too old that you don't see a difference. We can really take control of it now if
100%.
we give it a shot.
I mean, I only started rebounding at the age of 45.
Oh,
so
really?
for me, I was like, right, I'm going to do this. I've never done it. And
it's a little trampoline.
Yes,
yeah,
and it's so brilliant, not just for your lymph, but for your joints. So a lot of people that feel like, because I used to run. And then I hit 40 and I was like, I just don't enjoy running anymore. My knees hurt, my hips hurt. It takes me ages to recover from that run. And so I started researching, and I came across a rebounder. Started rebounding, my joints felt great, my body felt so much more toned, and I started to get rid of that sort of, stomach fat that was just troublesome.
Yes.
So it really helped me.
The importance of using your joints or jumping, that's something, again, I spend too much time on my phone, but I do go down these midlife rabbit holes. And I was seeing some people saying that it's really important that we jump and land and bang on our joints,
Absolutely.
which you might feel you should avoid as a midlifer, but actually we need to keep them strong.
So banging, I say to my patients, bang those bones. And the reason for that is, every time you do that, you're telling your bones, actually, I need you to be stronger, because I ran up one flight of stairs today. I may run up 3 tomorrow. So you're basically preparing your body that actually she may do more tomorrow. Let's lay down some more calcium. So that is really important.
So you're building your bones.
Yes,
you're making
bash
them
your
stronger.
bones. Yes. So running up the stairs, jumping jacks, rebounding, all of those count.
Oh, amazing.
Yes.
And I'm sure that they probably make you sleep better as well.
So much
because you're,
better.
tired,
I was
frankly.
about to say, I'm normally tired after all of that. So I go to sleep and I'm just straight away now.
So interesting. So pillow is going to be my big takeaway from this. I'm going to fold my pillow in half and check that it's supporting my neck.
But also
on the
when you
side.
fold it in half, check to see whether it springs back open.
Okay. And I'm going to keep hugging my pillow at night because I know that it's doing me good.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Nadia. I think there will be so many interesting takeaways for that from our audience.
You.
Thank you so much for joining us on The Night Shift, and I hope that you found that there were some great tips. This episode was brought to you by Estée Lauder's Advanced Night Repair. Wind down with a free Beauty Sleep Glow facial at your nearest Estée Lauder counter. Book online or in store.